Um, I'm not feeling the best. I've been really sick again with sinus crud, and I can't seem to get well every time I start to get better. And something happens and I get sick again, so I'm back on antibiotics, which y'all know how I respond to antibiotics. It sucks. Um, but I was able to do a little short, like, thought process video yesterday when I noticed someone who has been quite verbal about Creek Squad and actually kind of came over to be quite the Ryan Upchurch fan, but then had to back off because of behaviors and statements witnessed from the Creek Squad crew. And so I did a little video to say, let's talk about this. Hi, Gypsy. I look like crap today, but I'm trying to have like a coherent thought. We had to cancel my physical therapy for this week just because I'm so tired. I'm just so weak. The antibiotics have just whipped me, but I'm trying to do something productive today. But the video I did yesterday has gotten some, a lot of different responses, which is great. We need to have a discussion, but it's still a very one-sided discussion, and and it's still people wanting to say, I only worry about what I've seen. And for me, after working in law enforcement and the criminal component, and then with children in state's custody that have had to be removed from dangerous or abusive, neglectful homes and stuff, it's like, if we only worry about what we've seen, what we've witnessed, that is an easy way to allow everything bad to keep occurring. Because if we can only worry about what we've witnessed instead of talking to someone who has maybe had the unfortunate experience of going through something, abysmal, like an abusive household, or a household that struggles with someone in deep addiction, or someone that has been supervised due to criminal behavior. If we go through life and we say, we can't talk about that, or we can't discuss that because we've not seen it, then how would our nation function? How would our nation function? How would abuse survivors educate other people inside of abusive homes currently how to get out? How would kids that have survived atrocities and very traumatic childhoods start to open up and help other kids that are in them that are trying to find a way out? If we really say, I can only worry about what I've personally witnessed, then we limit our outreach as human beings to aid other people and to make our world better. And it's also a very easy way to say, it's not my problem. And I get that a lot of people use that. Well, I've not seen it, so what can I say about it? I've not seen it, so why is it my problem? Yeah, it's a very easy way to give yourself an out and to justify, thinking it's not my problem, so I've not witnessed it. But I think if you've been a fan for any amount of time, even if you're a recently new fan of about even a year, you've probably witnessed some stuff that is not appropriate. And a lot of people are like, well, why are you going after Ryan? I'm not going after Ryan. I'm going after the behavior of his fans. And some of them I don't believe are fans. Some of them I believe are trolls that are just trying to troll the fan base. But I'm going after the behavior of people that I see online. Now, if Ryan says something I think I need to point out that I think could be troublesome, or that I think is, kind of detrimental, to kind of put out there for his fan base, I'll talk about it. But I'm like not going after the boy. Hi, music. I'm not going after the boy. I'm just saying we've got some massive improvements to make in the quality of people that we are allowing to hold the banner of Creek Squad. And this is For me, it's very easy to see this, and it's easy for people on the internet to identify these bad behaviors because it's like putting a microscope over society. Because Creek Squad is like a little sect of society, and so we can see things that are happening in this little population a lot more quickly and easily than we see what's happening in the whole population. And so for me, it's kind of like, okay, what's happening in this population is happening in a lot of different populations, it's happening in a lot of different groups, it's happening in mainstream society as well. So it's like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this aggressive behavior. And so I talk about it. But then people want to say, well, I only worry about what I've seen. Well, then you're limiting your ability to help your fellow man. You're limiting your ability to get into a dialogue that can stop or slow down some really nasty behavior that I'm afraid is going to be, exposing the younger fans to this. And then these younger fans are going to say, oh, this is how we behave. This is how the fans have to respond. This is, and we need to watch what we role play for these younger people coming up because we're responsible for them. Um, it's kind of like if you wouldn't say it on your phone to your grandma, you probably don't need to say it. If you wouldn't say an earshot of a respected family member or respected elder, you probably shouldn't say it at all. That's kind of a key way to think about things when you're speaking about topics and you're speaking to people on social media. If you don't want your grandma to know you said it, you probably shouldn't say it. But then we get people that say, well, just show me one time that somebody didn't come in asking for the hate. Oh, that is such a loaded statement because subjectively, anytime we think anyone disagrees with us or doesn't see our pathway or our opinion, then you're inclined to separate them and to set them over there and see them as kind of an antagonist, an instigator. But that's subjective because somebody else may see that as someone trying to enlighten you, make you aware of something that you're struggling with. Like if the ice cream truck rolled up every day and you needed to lose weight, you would see that ice cream truck completely different as somebody who didn't need to lose weight. So we can't go through life saying, it's only my perspective because there are so many different perspectives in the world. But what we can say is that when people leave visually, you're see this comments and physical behavior on panels, then you can witness and learn and educate yourself and say, yes, this is actually occurring. And I've seen some very nasty behavior. And for me, 3-4 years ago, you would talk to other fans on the internet and they would be like, oh yeah, well, we've got a family in such and such area that are fans, and they just had to pass away to cancer, and they're trying to do a GoFundMe to raise money for the funeral. We're trying to get all the Creek Squad to donate money. Sure, let's go donate $10-$20. Or I've got a Creek Squad member who had a pit bull for 20 years that was their, emotional support dog, even though didn't have paperwork, but it was their dog that got them through a lot. Looking for anyone that's got a new litter. Would you like to donate a puppy? And we would all come together and make these things happen. And now all you see are people going onto panels and being super hyper aggressive and verbally abusive to people. And it's like, this is not okay. And then they say, well, they asked him there just to prompt the behavior, possibly. So they're guilty. They deserve what they get. They created the issue. No, because they invited Ryan onto a panel, but Ryan chose to go on to the panel. So they're, both have invested into this. So one side does not carry all, if it turns into a huge crap storm, one side does not carry all the blame because they both willingly participated. So they both carry blame as to how that meeting, that panel goes. Now, do people invite him just to create issues? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They invite him to provoke and elicit a response. Absolutely. But does sometimes he attend to give them what they want? Absolutely. Absolutely. To say that it, doesn't take two to play that game would be to lie to ourselves. And so this is one of those. I knew I was going to get a lot of hate or a lot of justification or normalization. People saying this, this is just what we have to do because people are coming after Ryan. Well, Ryan's a grown man. And as much as people yell at me for saying, why do you worry about words that he said online? Well, some of the words he said online really concern me because of my careers and the knowledge I have in my brain. And so I try to do a polite response and say, this concerned me. This is something that maybe if you're experiencing this, you need to talk to a loved one or you need to explore options to get some help, to get somebody there to talk to that can understand you, can help you through this, because, this to me is a red flag that you're struggling with something. And I've gotten a lot of hate for caring. But then they will justify the behavior of the people that jump on and just waylay people verbally, and they will justify and protect them because they think the people that are doing that, they're like, well, we have to protect Ryan. No, you don't. Hi, Denise. It's so nice to see your name pop up. I've missed seeing everybody. I've been so sick. I won't make it much longer, but I'm just trying to address this. But people say, well, we have to protect Ryan when they invite him on these panels and behave this way. No, you don't. No, you don't. Ryan is capable of handling himself. He takes these panel visits and these interviews and stuff because he wants to. He chooses to. He thinks there's going to be some kind of benefit for him. We don't know what's in his mind. He's doing it for whatever reason he wants to. But for fans to sit around and think that it is their job to then attack anyone who questions anything about him, it's like, no. It used to be a few years ago, we wanted everyone to hear his music. So we would walk around and just everyone we bumped into would be like, have you heard this song? Have you heard this artist? In real life and in social media, anyone that we came in contact with, we were sharing the music because we were so proud of the music and Ryan that we were like little ambassadors. And, we were shaking hands and kissing babies and trying to get everybody to listen to this great music, because we were so proud of the music and so proud of the person that was creating the music. And somewhere along the line, it changed to where now the fan base is like security for when anyone disagrees. And it's like, no, he doesn't need you to do that. He online, I mean, he doesn't need you to do that. If he chooses to take an interview online, he knows what he's engaging within, and he can push a button and disconnect at any time. And I don't know, it just boggles my mind that people think that they need to then go online and protect someone who chose to be there, knew what they were walking into, handles this daily, and for some reason they think someone with the resources that he has, the capabilities he's learned through this fame, career he's had, would need average people to stand up for him. He's perfectly capable of standing up for himself. And I just think that it's created such a misnomer about Creek Squad that we're just aggressive people that run around in little mobs waiting to attack anyone that says anything bad about Ryan. Because I think for the majority, Creek Squad are good, solid, salt of the earth people, that would do anything to help their fellow man. But since all these reaction channels and these other interests online have occurred, and all these panel visits and interviews have occurred, it has created this different momentum behind fans. And it's like they feel like, and they've even stated, you can go look at the comments, they stated like it's their job to protect him. No. It's not your job to get up and have your day dictated by someone who doesn't know you exist. No. Have a good day. Have positive interactions. Don't feel that you have to stand up for somebody, that doesn't even know you exist. And that's not saying anything bad about Ryan. He can't know all of his fans individually, but I'm sure he doesn't get up every day and go, what can I get into that I can make my fans step up and scare people, from talking bad about me? He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He talks crap, and he gets crap talked about him, but it's part of the fame game, which he trolls as good as he gets trolled, And I'm not opposed to a good troll every now and again, but I am opposed to people threatening violence and being verbally abusive, and thinking that they can justify it or normalize it by saying they bait him into hate arguments. No. It takes two to be baited into anything. And anytime that Ryan takes an interview, he does it knowing full well what he's going into. And so the fan base is not a security squad, and it's not a mafia. And we shouldn't be behaving like one. And it's sad to see this happening. Enlightened watcher, it's disgusting what's been going on YouTube. Yeah, it's very disgusting. I'm doing much better today, so thank you. My husband's already gone to work. I feel like I've been in a time warp with this healing from all this sickness and this stupid disorder I have. But YouTube has turned into basically a hate spitting contest, to where you can't have an enlightening discussion. You can't have a dialogue. You can't say, hey, I see a red flag. Is anyone else seeing this? And then when people say, yeah, we're seeing it. No, you don't. We're seeing hate amongst the fan base. And if you speak in any way and question anything that's going on, then you get attacked. No, you don't. You shut up right now. You're not getting attacked. Yeah, we are. And people are like, well, what's your motive? I have no motive other than I know what this behavior leads to, and it leads to the younger fans seeing this behavior, thinking it's normal, justifying it, and then reenacting it themselves. So we're just going to create a much more unhealthy fan base if we allow this to go on. And I don't think that's what Ryan is after. I don't think that's what any true Creek Squad member is after. But I think that there are a lot of people on YouTube that create these hate-ridden channels that get a kick out of watching a really good fan base shift into a mob of dogs. Just attack dogs. And so are you really protecting someone that's full well able to protect himself, or are you just being manipulated so that they can say what they want to say about the fan base? There's a lot of ways to look at this, and and there are a million of them, and I've only got a few that I can discuss right now because I'm tired and my brain is not working. But there's a lot of ways to view this, and I just want people to say, hey, yo, that person might have a point I need to think about. It's different than mine, but I might need to think about it for a minute. You have a good day, watcher. Thank you so much. Okay, Clara. I'm going to rest later. I've got a quick doctor check-in later, and then I'm going to try to rest, because you can still tell how tired I am. The antibiotics are kicking my butt, but I'm so tired of being in bed. And I'm kind of, this is my normal time where I'd have physical therapy, but I'm too weak for it today. So I thought, well, I'll try to do something that requires energy to justify it, and I'm trying to keep my routine, just like my up and down time routine. So music says, I hate when people put others' personal info up. You don't know if you're putting someone in danger. Yeah. That's a big thing. There's been a lot of like doxing of just private individuals that have really sweet channels, or channels that are trying to do something halfway decent, and it's it's not, they're just interested in something, and then a bigger channel will come by and then just blow them out of the water and do some stuff like this, and it's like, whoa, Well, and then there starts to be a lot of infighting, and then you see a lot of the smaller channels fall apart because then they start doing that too, and it's like, why? Why is it necessary? Why is it necessary if all you've got to do is come on here and do videos? Why is it necessary to then take physical actions to cause someone harm when you could have just kept doing your videos and ignored it? I ignore a lot, like a lot. I ignore a lot. And I honestly think the true crime community is probably one of the most toxic communities on YouTube, just because there's a lot that I've been aware of that has gone down in that community that is criminal, point blank abusive. These people are all about views and money, and I've seen some really bad behavior. Now, does that mean all true crime channels are horrible? No, there's some really sweet people that just really enjoy trying to bring awareness to some cases that are kind of lost, and it's sad that cases about people that have gone through trauma or have been affected by some really nasty individuals. It's sad that their cases get lost in the shuffle. So I respect a lot of the true crime people that get up and want to bring these cases some awareness. It's like, I get it. But then you get a lot of the infighting in the my channel is better than your channel. I did one panel. When I first got on YouTube, I did one panel. I've been on YouTube for about a year and a half. I did one panel, and it was talking about the psychological and neurological effects of abuse, epigenetics, and stuff like that. And it was a lady that had a newer channel, but she was very sweet. And I thought, this is going to be a good experience. This is, it's going to be good for her to get somebody that's educated to talk about this subject. And it's going to be good for me because I'm going to help somebody that I think, I thought she had a really good momentum about her. And she did for a while. And then shortly after the panel, there was another, it was about the Summer Wells case. There was someone stating that they had gotten information from a DCS worker. And I popped online in a live one day and I said, whoa, anyone that is saying they have information from a DCS worker, a state employee, about any child's medical treatment that's in custody of the state is in violation of several criminal laws. And you shouldn't do it. Not only are you violating HIPAA, but you're also violating a lot of criminal TCA codes and exploiting that child. So you're exploiting that child too. You're abusing that child for personal benefit too. You're in the same, for me, you're in the same class as an abuser when you go after information you should not have that, could harm the protection and like mental and emotional and physical health treatment of that child. And so I was like, whoever's saying this, y'all need to stop, because this is legit a criminal offense. And I guess that person thought I was talking about them, and I was like, did you do it? Well, no. Well, then I was talking about you. Well, why didn't you name any names? Because I was listening while I was cleaning house and heard this woman say it. I don't know who the crap she was. So I just got in here and said, hey, if you're hearing this and you're doing this, you shouldn't be doing it. Well, you should have named names. No, because the people that are doing that behavior, they know it, and they can mentally check themselves and correct their behavior if they're willing to correct it. If not, as far as I'm concerned, they can catch a criminal charge when somebody, catches them leaking information they should not be privy to. And I got attacked. Like, everybody wanted to come after me and be like, you play the game our way or you don't play at all. And I was just like, no, you're violating Tennessee's annotated code. I'm not going to play your game. And because I didn't respond in the way they wanted me to respond, and they tried for a few months, they tried to really pull me in to anything. And I was like, no. And they got tired, and I was not as fun of a toy as some of the people that would respond, so they let me go. So sometimes you just kind of have to stay the path and not allow people to kind of sway you into behavior. And I think that's very important for Creek Squad to hear right now too. Is stay the path, be a fan, be positive, talk about the music, love the music, share Ryan with people. Do not get on social media or get up in somebody's face and think you have to defend him, defend the music. What? You work 40 hours a week. You're barely getting by. You're just like everybody else, Tom, Dick, and Harry out here. And you think that you need to put yourself in a jeopardizing position over someone that doesn't know you exist and has enough money to retire and never work again. Where's the logic in that? You're going to put yourself in a physical altercation or a potential like litigation issue with someone online that you've crossed specific lines with. I mean, my gosh, most of us don't even have the money to pay a retainer fee on an attorney, let alone pay for an attorney to go to court with us multiple times and see us through a litigation issue over stupidity. And it's like, hello, have y'all thought about this? Because some of the behavior I'm seeing is stuff that could potentially end up in a court. Oh, I'm just pointing stuff out, Hillbilly. I'm trying to keep a dialogue going and keep people thinking instead of normalizing and justifying really irrational behaviors that have no logic. So, but for the most part, the biggest response I'm getting is, oh, well, I've not seen it. Well, we all know it's going on because we've all seen it. To some degree, we've all seen it. We've all witnessed the unhealthy shift in the fan base. We've seen the hate comments. We've seen the attacks on lives and panels. And we've seen the inappropriate behavior, between people. I've got some wild hair going on today. And saying that I can only, well, I've not seen it, so I can't do anything about it. Well, that's just an easy way out. But also, people never see bank robberies, people never see train wrecks, and people never witness anybody that's been through a horrible domestic violence issue. Doesn't mean those things don't exist. Doesn't mean that your world's not affected by it, and in some way you're going to be affected by it. Yeah, you're going to be affected by it. So you might want to pay attention. And even though you may not have witnessed this up close and personal, have it in, your peripheral and understand what's going on so that should you see it, you will know how to react, respond, or at least be educated that it's occurring. So, I'm just trying to really tell people, y'all, Ryan's not being baited into anything on the internet that he doesn't want to step into. Every panel he's been in, he could push a button and disconnect. So putting all the blame on other people, saying he's being baited into things, no, he's not. Saying that Creek Squad is supposed to go and defend him, that's not your job. He pays people to do that. They're called security. Putting yourself in an aggressive situation over someone who creates art that you're supposed to enjoy really removes the entire enjoyment of the media that they share. So we are reducing people sharing Ryan's work because they don't like the ick that they get into online when they run across the majority of the fan base now. And I don't think that, he's a very smart man. He doesn't he's not being counter-sunken anything he doesn't want to jump right into. And, people are like, well, you're just attacking him. I'm not attacking him. I have very valid concerns and questions, and I'll talk about it. What I'm saying is, Creek Squad, this is not your job. And because you think it's your job, you've made Creek Squad so toxic. And then people have seen that little antagonistic corner of Creek Squad and they go, watch this, I'll get 1 million views just by creating issues. And so you get people like Babbel and a whole bunch of other of these reaction channels that go on and create negative panels and negative videos and stuff about Ryan to elicit that response so that then they can say, and look how volatile and aggravated and antagonistic and aggressive these people are. And now they've got a whole 5 months of content to do, and you know they're going to get millions of views because they're going to tag Ryan and Creek Squad. They're going to make tons of money. And it's like you played right into their hand. You played right into their hands. You know, and if we just had a few of us stand up and go, this is not what Creek Squad's about. We're good people. We're good people that help people. And the few that are running around the internet acting like they're security or some kind of mafia gang that has to protect him, it's stupid. It's stupid. I don't think Ryan enjoys watching his fans devolve into mass chaos. Because even when things get a little out there with him and he's kind of having some struggles, he doesn't enjoy the struggles. You can tell he's struggling. So I don't think he would enjoy his fans going into like mass chaos and struggling. You know, I don't think he enjoys it. But again, I think a lot of times we turn a blind eye because we don't want to think it's happening. But I have now seen enough vicious behavior that I'm like, we got little kids watching. We got younger generations watching. We got to stop this. We've got to stop this. Because this is not normal behavior. This is not how healthy people, you know, discuss things on the internet. And I'm sorry, but I have, you know, I'm a huge Queen fan. Got tons of tattoos in relation to Queen's music. But if somebody wants to say something super nasty about any of the band, go for it. I'll tell you all the great things that I know and all the great things that it's done for me. But if you only want to say nasty things, you go for it. Go for it. I don't have to protect any of them. Of course, Freddie's dead, but I mean, the rest of them are, you know, gazillionaires. And that's not my job. You know, and it's like, just because I don't stand up against people that dislike them, you know, it doesn't change that I'm a fan and I love their music. It doesn't, you know, like devalue my worth as a fan because I'm not willing to get into an altercation from with someone that's not a fan. And I'm like, when did we get to where everything is like a freaking contact sport? I mean, I saw people fussing the other day in a backyard chicken forum, and I was like, really? Really? How can you get violently, mildly aggressive about chickens? But like I said, this is like a little microscope into society. These smaller groups that form little societal groups, they give you a quick snapshot of what's actually going on in the larger group. And we see it a lot quicker because it's a smaller population, so the problems present more. I think what we're seeing is just what's happening all over society. But I will say that as a member of Creek Squad, it's up to Creek Squad to correct the behavior. Because if we want to say we're part of Creek Squad, when we see somebody really going out there and doing something super inappropriate, we should say, hey, yo, that's actually not Creek Squad. Creek Squad's really positive. We help people. And we want people to hear Ryan's music because it's a positive thing, not because they feel forced to or because, you know, they're scared to say anything bad about him so that, you know, they're only going to sing his praises. No, I want your honest opinion of the music. And if you don't want to be a fan, I don't want you to be a fan. You know, what's the point? But I don't want you too scared to come up and have a different statement. But I don't know. I just think it's gone toxic. I think when it started going toxic people saw that and said, let's create channels, let's create panels, let's really milk this because these people are in a tizzy and we can get views and we can make a lot of money. So people latched onto it, like Psychobabble and several others. And just because somebody has reaction channels where they 99% of the time enjoy their music doesn't mean that they can't hear a song or see a behavior and say, no, I'm not cool with that. I love the music. I think Ryan is one of the most talented and like, he's a lyrical genius if you ask me, because the pictures he paints with his words are just so super crisp and clear. And so I want everyone to listen to his music. I want everyone to love his music. But it doesn't mean I'm going to hear every song and love it. I'm going to hear some songs that go, "That's just not for me. I don't like that. I don't like the vibe it has. I don't like it." Doesn't mean my worth as a person changed because I didn't like one song, And so it's just like, we have to allow people to have their opinions and their perspectives and their perceptions. I don't think Ryan wants drama and negativity. I think if you were here about 10 minutes ago, I think that even when he struggles, when he's having like a super dramatic time in life, you can see the struggle on his face. He doesn't enjoy it. I don't think he would enjoy knowing that his fans are going through this. And I certainly don't think he goes on the internet thinking I'm going to go into this panel or I'm going to go into this interview and, I'm going to make it go south so that my fans have to come to my rescue. I don't think Ryan does any of that. I think he does his own thing and he thinks that everybody else does their own thing. And for the majority of the population, that's true. But we are definitely starting to see like this group and you can go under several videos and you can start remembering names and the little avatars, and you start seeing the repetition from these certain groups of people that go to every video and start crap. And it's like, but the one thing that irritates me is that the good solid Creek Squatters are not standing up and saying, nope, this is not what we do. This is not what we do. And we can't change it unless we acknowledge it, talk about it, and say, yo, we're not good for that. 4 years ago, Creek Squad had a buddy program to where if you were struggling with anything, you could find a buddy and you would have a buddy every day to talk to. And it was one of the most touching things I witnessed Creek Squad ever do. And I had a couple of buddies. And it was nice to know that every day you were going to check on somebody and they were going to check on you. It was very nice. And now, if you were to try to do something like that, I don't have the time. And it's like, why don't you have the time? Well, I stay up till 4 a.m. trying to watch all these panels talking about him, and I have to watch what they say, and I have to get in there and fight for him. No, you don't. No, you don't. As a fan, you enjoy the music. Try to find a positive way to share the music and try to have positive experiences with the music. I don't know why everybody has gone so negative, other than it's financially benefiting a lot of them. It's finally, it's coming out how much these people are making, and it's financially benefiting a lot of people to start this negative crap. Yeah, J. Cole. Yeah, this people get defensive, and it's okay. Like, as soon as I say anything about Ron, and I'm like, let's have a discussion, people get really defensive, and I understand that, because it's something that you're passionate about and you love. But hang in there for more than 5 minutes, and you'll get to understand that I'm a huge fan too. I adore the boy. I have a high expectation of him because I know what he's capable of. And so I expect a lot of the boy, and he's only ever been sweet and kind to me, and blasted a few of my videos, and I appreciate that. I'm not monetized. I think I discuss things that should not be financially motivated, so I'm not monetized. But I really think that we've got to stand up kind of as the good solid salt of the earth Creek Squatters and say we're not for all this nastiness, this vitriol that we're seeing, that is happening. We're not for this, because we know that we've got 12, 13, 14-year-olds come up looking at this music, looking at Ryan, and Ryan's a human. I have to give him grace because he's a human and he goes through life and he's not going to do everything great. He's a human. He's going to make mistakes. But as a fan base, we can kind of self-police, and we know when things are getting really out there to where our younger fans shouldn't be witnessing this, thinking it's normal, thinking it's how you respond and talk to people online, thinking it's what the music or, being a fan is about. We've got to start really putting a healthier perspective out there. Because y'all, our next couple of generations, just because of the last 3 years and all the crap that's going on in this world, our next 3 generations, 2 to 3 generations, are foobarred. So why create any more issues than these kids are going to have to deal with? I mean, they're FUBAR. Let's give them something to enjoy. And that's what the art should be. It should be an enjoyment. It shouldn't be something that you have to go and battle every day online. I mean, I don't wake up and think that Ryan Upchurch needs my protection against people that don't like him on the internet. And if that is your motivation daily, then it's time to have a talk with yourself. You know, and I can stand up for Ryan and say things in such a kind manner and go on and on about his kindness, his attributes that make me enjoy him as a person, his attributes that make me enjoy him as an artist. I can go on and be positive for 10 freaking hours. So why are all of a sudden everyone going negative immediately? Either Creek Squad has got toxic, or we've allowed a toxic minority to kind of overrun the majority of the good, solid Creek Squatters that I know. So it's like, come on, we got to get in check. We've got to get in check. And now maybe instead of attacking people, you know, that we know are just motivated financially, how about we just represent ourselves appropriately in the comment section? How about we respond to the people that are claiming to be Creek Squad that are really, really nasty and being like, dude, glad you like Ryan, glad you like the music, but that behavior is not what Creek Squad's about. Because they've developed this thought pattern about Creek Squad by their repetitious comments and behavior. We can change it by our repetitious comments and behavior. We just got to have enough people that want to leave a kind remark, a kind comment, or a very sweet, suggestive, correcting comment when someone is really, really nasty. Yeah, I think a lot of people are just trying to financially profit off of the animosity that is in society right now. I mean, we're all screwed. Let's just talk about it for a minute. We're all screwed. No one in how many years is being held accountable for any of the lies, nastiness, criminal behavior that's being pushed upon people in the world? No one. No one. So why should somebody in BFE think that they're going to be held accountable for the words they put on the internet? But let me tell you how it works, y'all. Let me tell you how the justice system works after been working in it. Retired parole officer and counselor here that worked with teens and adults and the violent, I supervised murders. It's the poor people that are on the bottom rung of the ladder that are always made the examples of. So none of these people in powerful places that have done bad things are going to ever see any day of accountability. No. It will be pawned off on the smaller people, the normal man. And it will be turned into a societal issue rather than the 1% causing most of the problems. And so, you know, as somebody that is just podunk, you know, working 40 hours a week, when you see no accountability at the top of the ladder, you think, well, there's going to be none at the bottom, but that's not the way it works. It goes bottom up. It goes bottom up. The little man, the poor man, is always going to be held accountable before anyone else. That's just the way it goes. And so, you know, if you get up and you think no one else has been held accountable for I won't either, don't think that. That's it's a quick way to, you know, to get a field trip to a Sallyport. You don't want that. So, music, absolutely. Real Creek Squad be making America whole again, not fighting each other. Yes, there is too much for us to be concerned about that is like really changing our world than to worry about somebody that said something nasty about Ryan Upchurch, who is fully capable of taking care of himself. You know, and people are like, "Well, you're just going after Ryan." I'm not going after Ryan. I've seen some stuff that's made me say I'm concerned. I'm seeing enough repetitious stuff, and I've dealt with enough that I'm concerned. But at the same time, I will tell you about my concerns in the most kind and appropriate manner and respectful manner. And then also state, these are just my opinions, what I see. And I am also hypersensitive because of the careers I've had. So take it with a grain of salt and go on, you know. Um, but I only want what's best for the boy. I only want him to be happy. But I do see this. I mean, we're just devolving into this hateful group of people. And you know, and I personally think Ryan's been like hyper aggressive for a while, ever since like the Rodney case. My hand's hurting. Ever since the Rodney case, I think Ryan's kind of been like hyper aggressive online, and his profile has been a little bit more antagonistic than normal. And I'm like, well, I'm concerned, you know, but at the same time, he's a grown man, so all I can do is voice my concerns and go on. But it certainly is, like, when you address something respectfully and from a place of love, it is horrendous to get like 80 emails, messages, and DMs about how sorry you are and how you need to stop going after, you know, you need to stop going after him. It proves you're not a fan. It proves you don't care. And I'm like, if like the Mama Liz, aka the Creek Squad counselor back in the day, if I'm receiving hate for stating very appropriate statements of concern, you know, and y'all know I only use words that he says when I'm like, he said this and it concerned me. Then what are people that are, you know, just, you know, really barreling down on him? What are they getting? You know, what side of Creeks, what are they getting? So I'm just concerned about how we're representing ourselves and how it's going to affect the younger fans, and how silly it is for someone that can't even afford the retainer fee on an attorney, let alone have an attorney go to court multiple times, would think it's their job to stand up and put themselves in a potentially a scenario that could end with litigation, when the person that they're defending can take care of himself and hire 50 attorneys. It's logic, people. Think about it. Don't put yourself in front of the train. You know, it goes woo woo, and you hear it coming for a mile for a reason. It's time to evacuate. Avoidance. You know, and so all this behavior is just like, come on, people, come on. Oh yeah, music. People, and a lot of people that are moderately aware of where the world is going, if they're terrified of it and they can't talk about it, then they will distract and create other fuss budgets to worry about. And I do that in other ways. Like if I have a project that's really big that I need to finish, I will start a smaller project so that I can finish something and feel the reward of finishing something, and then go back to the bigger project after I've rested. So I do that too. I distract and deflect all the time too, and in other ways. It's just that some people do it in ways that really affect themselves and society in very negative ways. Did it hit the prepper community? It probably hit them wide open, didn't it? Yeah, I think Truth Seeker, I think a lot of society, like I said, because Creek Squad is a very small population, we can see the behaviors and the issues a lot quicker than we would in the whole of society. So I think if you look at the whole of society, you can see that these same issues they're coming down the road. And we just see them quicker in these smaller little groups of people. And we need to talk about it. We need to talk about it because it is, I think, the predominant behavior that is being witnessed in society. It's a predominant change. Oh God, the crime chat. Cindy, oh my gosh, don't even. Oh, Cindy, I sent you a very important email. You need to check it. Check it now. I sent you 2 emails way early this morning because I've been so sick. I've not done anything. Check your emails now. Very important email. Like, leave now and check it now. But yeah, I think the world is kind of going in a bad place, and part of it is because we're allowing it to happen. Part of it is because we're not holding anyone accountable, and part of it is because power is a perception, and the people are not holding the perception anymore. And that's sad. That's sad. That's sad. It's sad for me as an American to think that I have my Constitution and my Bill of Rights and all these things to protect me, But at the end of the day, I'm supposed to be this free American, but at the end of the day, if I make certain remarks that violate, like, the World Health Organization or other, then I'm under their umbrella before I'm under the protective umbrella of my nation, and the paperwork's supposed to protect me as a citizen of this free world. So I can go online and say things that doesn't violate my laws here, and I have my Constitution and my Bill of Rights to back it up. But I can still be punished by all these social media platforms because, oh wait, your government signed a contract to also heed the rules and regulations of the World Health Order or these other things. And it makes me accountable to them. I'm sorry, I didn't vote them into power. I'm from a nation where we get to decide that as the people. Hello. So how long do you think America has been a free nation? Not in here. No, we're not there anymore. We haven't been there in a while. Because our government officials keep pimping us out to these stupid world organizations and ceding our power to them. I'm supposed to be a sovereign citizen of a free nation. Oh, but wait. No, there is no oh, but wait. Annette, yeah. That's what I was thinking too. Music, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So people are like, I'm an American. I'm free. You are accountable. You are accountable to other organizations across this world that our government officials have made us accountable to without your permission. Nobody voted on it. So tell me again. Y'all know that day that I read an NIH.gov published article on YouTube and got a 7-day suspension. I was like, excuse me? I read, like, Our National Health. I read an article they published on a government website, but I got a 7-day suspension because I violated WHO regulations that YouTube follows. No, we don't even have a right to privacy. We don't nothing. I mean, they totally pimped us out with the Patriot Act. You know, and now things are coming out in this new omnibus thing that they just passed about the doctor-patient, you know, that's going to change. The relationship you have with the doctor is going to change because basically they ceded power back to the WHO to dictate what our doctors here in the States can use in off-label forms. Like, a lot of medications have off-label uses that are, you know, necessary and proven to work and been used that way for, you know, 100 or more years. But now they're wanting to allow the WHO and other world health crap to dictate what medicines your doctor can use and how they can be used to benefit you. And even if your doctor thinks it's an off-label benefit to you, they're not going to be able to use it because they're going to be responsible to the World Health Organization. Make it make sense. But I've got a Constitution and Bill of Rights that tells me all of this is my privacy, my right to privacy. But then some bloated politician signed a contract. Didn't ask me, didn't let any of us vote. But he put us in a binding contract where we're responsible and accountable. And it blankets and takes away our rights found in our nation that are supposed to be given us by God. But they were taken away by man in a heartbeat. So, yeah, I just get really, you know, and then, you know, people don't want to talk about it. So, I got sent to detention. I've been sent to detention twice. And I'm proud of it. J. Cole, I'm there with you. I tell y'all, when I handed in my badge, I felt like I lost 20,000 pounds. Because, legit, I saw more nasty behavior from people that were supposed to be prime examples of pillars of the community, I saw more negativity from those people than I did from people on my caseload. And I supervised the violent offenders. Hello? And I was like, this, it was sad, and, I got asked to do things that was illegal, and I would shut it down, and I would pay the price. I would have a consequence because I followed the law, and I wouldn't flex to help somebody who knew somebody's dad that was back in the day friends, and how dare you not? And I'm like, whoa, the law says this. I can't do that. It's my name on this piece of paper, and I'm not going to, incriminate and reduce my name to piddle. And they got mad at me. And I was like, you can have me and scratch your butt. I don't care, because I'm not going to violate the law. And I've worked my whole life and upheld all these laws for my nation. And then my nation sells me out quicker than a pimp on a street corner? No. Like Adam Schiff and Swalwell are surprised they got their clearances removed. And people are like, how dare they remove their clearances? Or how dare those people put Americans in the place that they've been putting Americans in for the last 10 years? Let's start holding some people accountable. When you lie in front of Congress, or when you slip intel to another country, hey, let's hold people accountable again. It's in our laws. Why are we not following our laws? We're a nation of laws. That's what's supposed to make us so good, but we're not following any of them. And if we have a law, then they just sign that out to we're now responsible to someone else. So screw your own stuff. Hi, Neville. The no bail is, I think it is very personally offensive. Like, if my view on that is, like, if you are a low level person that has, like your first or second offense, and you've not been like a repeat, every other week, when the new problem, then I don't mind them taking a chance on you, as long as it's like under certain criminal elevation, as long as it's like a certain crime or below, like a violent level or below. But then I also get irritated when I watch county clerks and courts and stuff ask for so much money from families that have found themselves in this, that have never been in these issues before, and it ends up people will put up land, put up property, put up for bail, and then there'll be a technicality somewhere, even though they made all their court dates, and there will be a technicality somewhere, and poof, that family loses all that money or all that land that was signed over as collateral, and it's like, whoa, because those things are used inappropriately to benefit others as well. And so there's not been a lot of, I don't know, patrolling to make sure that a lot of the stuff that is a positive in the justice system is not used as a negative against people as well. So it's kind of one of those balance areas where it kind of swings back and forth every few years. But career criminals, I don't think a lot. If you have over a specific number of interactions with law enforcement, you should just sit your butt there until your court date, because you have proven to us repeatedly from past behavior that you're most likely going to do that again. So just sit your butt there and stay in jail until your court date. Because if you knew the amount of money that states pay for pre-trial supervision, then you would just be like, just have them sit their butt there, But it's one of those, where's the line? And it's one of those, the line is hard to define, and we have to have conversations about it. But we now live in a nation where we can't have conversations. So it's like we're FUBAR'd. We're FUBAR'd. Oh, you subbed to it? Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm normally more online more and make kind of all over the place content, but I have a neuromuscular disorder and almost had a heart attack in December, and was in a flare this last week, and now I've got sinus infection, and it's just like my body can't get it together. And I'm like, I will feel better eventually, but the antibiotics are killing me today, and I'm extremely tired. But this is the normal time that I do my physical therapy, so I'm trying to stay in the same routine. So I'm trying to be up for my normal physical therapy time so I don't get completely out of routine. Oh, Gypsy, thank you. I have my moments. I can be a raging turd when I want to be. Thank you. I appreciate any good energy and prayers. I'll take every one of them because the last 2 months have been very difficult for me. Very difficult. Ever since the heart issue, it's just been like I've got to pep talk my body every day to keep it going. And what I deal with is a lot like MS, so I don't know what I'm going to run into every day. So I was doing better until I had to have antibiotics earlier this week, and that's what has kind of made my body go, eh. So I've just got to get through this. Thank you, Daniel. It's nice to see you pop on. Like yesterday, I got to pick on you. I ain't got to pick on you in a while. I enjoy my time that I get to pick on Daniel. He's just down the mountain from me like a half hour. Truth Seeker just said, please pray for Upchurch. I know the family. His mom is trying to get around him. Is that Be Loose? Orion kicked her out. Right? And so, okay, Truth Seeker, and we just, when people share stuff like this, we just, we just got to kind of say, okay, they may or may not be, telling us legit, but, we just discuss it anyway. I will say though that since all the Kylie Rodney stuff, there's been something off for me personally that it's just been like something's not right. There's so much aggression, something's not right, and the antagonistic bravado has been like up here at a place I don't enjoy, and so it has reduced my ability to want to watch a lot of his fan videos that he does on Instagram and listen to a lot of the new music because it's just not in a headspace that I personally enjoy his music to come from. But y'all were, if y'all watch my videos, back, I said, listen, now we're seeing this repetitious behavior. It concerns me, the cyclical behavior. I've seen 5 relationships now. They end about the same and they all have the same pattern. He'll become aggressive, something, and then boom, everything falls apart in life. And then he gets really, back out there and excited about something, deflects, distracts, builds himself back up again. And I think that he thinks this is a beneficial repetition, but it's not. And it just mentally, I think it breaks him down a little bit more each time it occurs. That's just my perspective. But something has definitely been off for me since the Rodney case. All of that behavior was so not normal for me. What I've witnessed and the interaction that we, limited interaction that we have had, it just was not normal for me. And so I've struggled, and I've wondered if something was imploding in his world. And it concerns me because he's at that level in fame to where he's been in it long enough. He is now established and could stop today and never have to work another day in his life and still be comfortable. But he's also at that stage where his biggest concern is battling and overcoming his own limitations as an artist. So he starts reflecting on himself and his own library of work. And for some people, that's good because it gives them a fresh perspective. And for some people, it's bad because it's like it creates this paranoia of what will I do next? How do I talk myself? How do I become, this all this talk about being a legend and when I'm gone and Elvis. And it's like, I don't know what the big thrill about Elvis is because at the end of Elvis's life, if he didn't wear a certain outfit, behave in a certain way, and do those hand movements, his fans would not respond. He basically turned himself into an organ grinder's monkey. And if he didn't do the dance correctly, his fans would not respond. And I feel bad because he was a very talented man. I mean, my goodness, look at everything that he created. But you also have to look at the flip side and say, look at the harm he caused himself by always trying to compete with his own ego. That's toxic when you have to look at yourself and think that you have to become something bigger, better, and you put yourself in this God category. It's so unhealthy, and at the end of the day, yeah, Elvis did so much for music, you know, and his legacy is awesome, but he also died on the shitter. I hope that someone that builds that much money and power also has the wherewithal to build a lifestyle to where they don't fall prey to things that derail the passion for the art that got them to this status and this comfort level, that they are always able to be positive and make sure that life is stable and got some kind of consistency, Yeah, Gypsy, I think Elvis was just, I think he was tortured by himself. He's just tortured by himself and what he needed to be, what he thought he had to be for his fans, for his income, for his family, and it's just like, don't put that pressure on yourself. And so I see Ryan starting to do that. And I'm like, no, 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 no. And I've got famous friends. Like, I've got friends that are so freaking famous, and I don't talk a whole lot about them because my friendship is more important than their fame. But they've told me about how toxic this is and how famous is something that is, people think it's great, but it's not. And I've listened to the stories and taken in, what they've given me from seeing fame up close. And I'm like, wow, it's not good. It's not good. No, Annette, it certainly didn't. And she was a terrible loss as well. And her son a couple years back was a terrible loss for her. And, I don't want families to keep experiencing terrible losses because people were so consumed about how others responded to their creativity. It's your creativity. Let people just respond. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. Ryan already knows he's a musical genius. He's a lyrical genius. If you run across people that say, I'm bored with you now, who cares? Who cares? As long as you are fulfilling your obligation to yourself and putting your art out there in the most authentic and honest way that, and you're kosher with you, who cares? Who cares? Yeah, I think she was almost 8. And, but growing up in someone's shadow that also had, such a overwhelming view of fame and how fame affected him, it affected her. Epigenetics is a bitch. I say that all the time. But, really what you grow up in and what you receive from your parents, you can overcome it. But if you're not aware of what you're fighting, the whole nature versus nurture, so if you're not aware of what you're fighting, it's very difficult to overcome it. Yeah, getting lost along the way. Third, I think that's his biggest problem is he doesn't know who's there because they love him and who's there because he's financial support. And here's my thing. I think the biggest issue for me is people fuss about it, but they never offer solutions. My hand is killing me. This is where my flare happened earlier this week, and it's not swollen anymore, but it's killing me. Here's where I think Ryan could improve and reduce the issues that he faces, because it seems like he has friends that keep their hands out constantly and family that keep their hands out constantly, and it builds a resentment to him because they're constantly asking. But at the same time, he's constantly helping. So better boundaries and barriers about when and where I will help and how often I will help will be good. But also never employ a friend, because that's either going to turn into an employee or a friend, because you can't fudge those lines. You're never going to know if they're there for a paycheck or if they're there because they're your friend. And once you get a friend financially reliant, you don't know, it augments the friendship. It augments the honesty, why they're there, and the motivation. So he needs to have all professionals on his staff. And his friends need to be separate. And then if he wants to spend money on his friends, he can create a reason to go on a trip or spend money on his friends, but they're not always waiting for a job or to be taken care of. Because I've noticed a lot of the issues that he has been with people that he has had long-term friendships that, before he was famous, that turned into employment friendships that then fell to pieces and made him feel used and abused. And if you ever employ a friend, it's either gonna, you're either gonna end up with an employee or a friend. You're not gonna have both. It's not, and it's best to not ever employ friends. If you want to shower somebody with gifts or aid, do so because you want to, but don't employ them to where they become a siphon and they just keep putting their hand out and expecting you to maintain them and their life and fix everything. It creates a toxic relationship. And I think that he's got a lot of resentment built up because he was so kind and so, like, he was so open to his fans and so open to his friends financially that he just bled himself dry to a point where it started to build resentment, and now he's done. And he has to acknowledge that, yeah, other people shouldn't have expected those things, but he also should not have met those expectations and surpassed them and maintained them and helped create that standard. So, it's best to never employ a friend, to never put money in the mix. It muddies the water, and I found that out personally, so I know that from a professional standard and from a personal standard. So, it's just money and friendship do not mix. They just don't mix. So, well, I've sat here and jibber jabber for a while, and I'm getting very tired. I'm going to have to go and rest. This is about the time that my physical therapy would be stopping. Yeah. So, I'm going to try to stay on schedule. I'm going to go rest. And then I'm going to attempt to do dishes tonight. But my hand it's not swollen or red, funny colors anymore. If you looked at the community post I shared the other day, the flare's passed. But I still don't want to put my hand in hot water because it makes the nerve pain start. So I've just looked at my sink of dishes for the last 2 days and just, told my husband it'll get done. But I'm hoping maybe tonight to do dishes and not have my hand completely flare. You too. Thanks for visiting. And, pay attention to how you're seeing fans of Ron respond. Be a little bit more aware of the fan base and his behavior, and see what you notice. I hope it is, Daniel. I hope Creek Squad is okay. I hope we kind of come back and the pendulum swing comes back to where we're back to the more positive interactions. So, Third Eye, thank you. I don't know. Just sometimes it just helps to talk something through, and it's nice to sit down and be able to have a conversation when you're, because I'm stuck at home all the time. So this is very beneficial. Because I was used to working 80 hours a week and being in the midst of everything, and now it's like I'm home all the time. So you're starting to call it out. Oh, good. I am too. And I know people think that that's me being disrespectful to Ryan, but it's not. I don't want to watch the fan base turn toxic. And for that energy, I don't want Ryan and the fan base to feed each other negative energy. Because I think lots of times that does happen. Because Ryan and Creek Squad are so close, it's like a battery energy flow. And so I don't want it to stay negative, because I think in many ways that negative fan base gives Ron a lot of attention when he's in a negative headspace, and it makes it seem like he gets a reward when he's in the most troubling times of his life. And I don't like that. So I want the fan base to go more positive and have more positive interactions with Ron again. You can even see the shift in the Q&As on Instagram. There are more people saying, "Hey, dude, you okay? You good?" And he gets irritated with those, and other fans get irritated with those. But I understand where those people are coming from. Yeah, it feeds on itself. And so I want to see a positivity energy exchange and not a negative one. Hey, Irish, you came in right at the end. I'm so sorry. You'll have to rewatch it now. But if you go to the community page and go to my lives, you can just immediately go back and watch it. J. Code, I appreciate you coming in and giving me more than a couple minutes. Lots of times people come in and they only listen for like 2 minutes and then they ping me with something and leave. And I'm like, oh, if I could have only had you here for 2 more minutes, you would have understood. I can talk the hind leg off a mule. So, never feel that you have to sit through the whole thing. But normally, if you can give me 5 to 10 minutes, you're going to get the gist of what I'm going for. But I'm not going to disrespect Ron. I love the boy. I am going to question when he says things that concern me. And normally, we did a tit for tat online where he would watch my videos and was actually very thankful for a lot of the insight. And lately, that's not been happening. And it doesn't upset me, because my only motivation is to say, hey, be aware, I'm concerned because this behavior is something I saw that, when it happened like this led to this, and be aware and make sure you're checking yourself and stuff. And, I say it in the most respectful way possible. And I really only focus on actual words that he says. I don't try to pull anything and create anything. I'm focused on what he says. But, he said some stuff that's concerned me, and I try to do it and talk about it respectfully, but I've not been getting any responses lately, paired with the very aggressive behavior, paired with some other really strange things that I've been witnessing with friendship and family dynamics. And, I'm just concerned. And it's because he's famous, and he's, a country star, but he's a person. And I don't like to see people struggle, especially when there are ways to look at it, correct it, and move forward in a better manner. I don't like to see people struggle. And I really wish I could help him link up with a group of professionals that could help him work through this cyclical behavior that I've witnessed now 5 rounds of this Ferris wheel, and it's not fun. And, the fans that think it's fun boggles my mind, because it's not fun for him. It's not fun for me. And even though it might create more content for you and entertainment value for you, it's hurting someone at the core of their being. And I just don't think we should take enjoyment in that. And so I worry about him, and I want him to be happy. I would rather him never write another song and be happy than to be unhappy in this fame world he's caught in and feel like he perpetually has to write songs and stay in this mindset to stay famous. I would rather him never write another song and be happy than to be in this mindset and be famous. I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth it. I think he's too beautiful a soul to squash with fame. And I think anyone's too beautiful a soul to squash with fame, but I don't want to see his creativity and his artistic skills fall to the wayside because he is caught in a perpetual crap storm. So I would love to be like, hey, this is how we get out of this cycle. Let's work on it. Because anything that you acknowledge and wake up and think about and try to move forward with, create a plan of attack, you can change anything. Retraining your brain is possible at any stage. It gets harder the older you get, but it's always possible. So, if you wake up breathing, you can change your life. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you found his music, and I'm glad that you love it, and it's done something to make you smile and kind of make life better. I think that's great. And music makes room for pain. Psychologically, music makes room for pain. And people that create music are often the most beautiful people, but they often struggle, emotionally, with pain a lot. And I think it's one of those catch-22s where, sometimes the most ugly life creates the most beautiful art. The ugly things you see sometimes prompts the most beautiful art because it's a form of getting that trauma out. And it's sad. It's sad that occurs, but often that's the way it works. But music is psychologically proven to make room for pain. And so music is great. I used music a lot when I was doing therapy with people. It's wonderful. And that's why I'm so passionate about musicians. And I'm very passionate about Ron. And I worry about him a lot. But he is strong. He is strong. Um, but this is the first time in a few years that I've been in a spot where I've been like really worried that like the self correct is getting farther and farther away. It worries me. It worries me. But I just want him to be happy. I just want him to be happy and healthy. And I want him to be happy for all the right reasons. I don't watch everything he does because I'm old, and social media and certain internet platforms are just not user friendly when you're getting as old as me. And so, and I have a lot of health issues, so I can't spend a whole lot of time online. But but I try to follow him as much as possible, and if I see something I'm concerned about, I'll talk about it. But I mean, I am like his biggest fan, and I will always be here to help him any way possible. And he knows that. And he knows how to get in touch with me. He knows how to yell at me. And the last time that we messaged back and forth was during the Rodney case. And since then, it just felt like something has changed energetically. And it just concerns me. Yeah. The recognition he deserves and how it may affect him to not get it. Yeah. He's top of the game. I mean, as far as quality of musician, he is, for me, he surpasses many people that are twice his age and have been in it their whole lives. Oh yeah, he puts a lot of his personality out there, and honestly, that when I have interacted with him, he's just sweet and genuine, and I mean, he's just a good old boy. He reminds me a lot of my own son. Yeah, J. Cole. Yeah, that fame is a harsh game. Or you bet you're older than me. I'm fixing to turn 45. I have a neuromuscular disorder so I feel like I'm like pushing 80. So it plays with my mind because some days I get up and I do really well, and some days I get up and have to have help from my husband to get around the house. So it's I never know what each day is going to bring me. So I just take it for what I can get. But I'm glad that y'all have joined in and sat with me. And I'm going to shut up now so that you just don't grow bored with me. But there's lots of content. And I try to talk about things from several perspectives. I will even challenge my own perspective and play devil's advocate. And just to make sure that I'm voicing as many options and as many sides of stuff so that people can train themselves to look at things from different perspectives. So feel free to go through and watch stuff. I'm not monetized. I think I talk about stuff that should not be financially incentivized. So I'm not monetized, and I will never be monetized. And then I just pop on when I'm having a good night, and I'll craft and talk. And it's just like sitting at the kitchen table and having a dialogue with a friend. 57. Well, we're close then. I have to admit, most of my friends are in their 50s and 60s. So thank you, Daniel. He is. He's top notch, J. Cole. Yeah. People think I attack him a lot because I have expectations and I have boundaries. Like when he does this, I'm like, whoa, that was not cool. It doesn't mean it erased my love for him. It just, for that moment, it was like, dude, that was not cool. I do lots of crafts. So if I'm feeling good, I'll set up and do a lot of crafts and just talk while I'm doing it. And my husband is a trapper and a tanner. We're from Appalachia. We're podunk little hillbillies. And I love to share our lifestyle because it's so different than most people's. And I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but, I grew up, I guess, I'm Scots, Irish, and Cherokee. So I grew up with a very healthy relationship with the woods. So my life is a little bit different than most people's. But I'm a retired parole officer and counselor, so. Yeah, J. Cole, I very carefully talk about things in a very specific manner because I have to lay out the formation of the whole thought process to get to the point. And I need everybody to, if they can give me about 5 minutes, they'll understand where I'm coming from. But, and it's very easy to see when people don't watch my whole video because they'll pop on and say, like, you're just a hater. And I'm like, okay, you watched maybe 30 seconds. So, it's nice to meet you, Savannah. I respond to anything that's not hostile. Most people call me Liz or Mama Liz. Oh, Annette. I tell you what, I haven't been able to change a light bulb because I can't get on a step stool anymore because I'm so unstable. And so I have to wait for, like, Kim, because she's really tall, to come by, or David to do it for me. So when my best friend visits, I'm like, hey, can you change this light bulb? Of all the things. Did you, Third Eye? Third Eye, do you have Facebook? Hey, Priscilla. I try to be peaceful. I can amp it up if I need to be a booger, but I'm always trying to be like the easygoing herd animal. Unless I know that the rest of the herd is fixing to go over a cliff, and then I'm like, yo. Oh, thank you, Priscilla. I'll stick it on my fridge. Okay, Third Eye, if you would send a message to Hillbilly Furs on Facebook, Hillbilly Furs, then I will link up with you. That's my husband's fur account. I will link up with you with my private account so we can keep in touch because I would love to see more of your artwork. And I don't know if anybody knows, but I'm going to brag on Gypsy, who just opened an Etsy store for her beautiful paintings. So I'm going to give her a little while to get everything kind of solidified and set up and tweaked the way she wants it for presentation stuff. Then I'm going to share a link for her Etsy store because I've got like 4 or 5 of her paintings now in my home. And my nurses love them. I get a lot of comments on them. So yeah, if you want to check out my husband's Etsy store, it's Hillbilly Heart Decor on Etsy. The link there, Gypsy just put it in. And you can always reach myself or David. If it's a message for me, he'll forward it on to me. Hillbilly Furs on Facebook. Or you can always email me at watersworkload@gmail.com. If I don't immediately respond, it's probably because my health is having a moment, but I will. But Cindy, if you're still in here, check emails. My dog is 10 years old and laying here at the end of the chair. Here, Rudy, come here. Come here. He looks like a little hairy Ewok. Come here. Come here. Oh, thank you. Thank you. My little smush face doggy. He's a pug Shih Tzu cross, and he needs a haircut. And as soon as I feel better, I'm going to haircut him. Okay, Cindy, thank you. I wanted you to see that as quickly as possible because it kind of worried me. Okay, I'm going to shut up now, and I'm going to rest. But thank you so much for spending time with me. And as soon as I get my strength back, we'll do this more. But I now need like a 4-hour nap. You do too? Okay, let Oscar out and get situated, and I'll yell at you on the iPad real quick. I'll voice call you just a minute. Okay, thanks everybody. We'll do this again, and hopefully I'll feel better next time. Won't look so bad either. So, bye guys.